decided to take it through the LGBT community and really talk about the ideology.
Alright, so I'm going to go back to the last slide. We did it on the equality and acceptance of the LGBT community and how it's a pressing issue and it's relevant to our society today, and that we all have clubs in our schools and we just wanted to see it more accepted and I don't know, that works. So I just wanted, there's a picture of a guy with money because there is so much money spent on these issues that we could be spending on other very pressing matters. For example, the Church of Latter-day Saints spent $100 million against LGBT efforts and like overturning laws. So, and then also for LGBT, they're spending just as much money, probably the same, probably more, against it for the issues. We could be spending that money on many other things.
Hello.
Yeah, Kayla.
So we decided to take look at all the different approaches that you can see with the LGBT community, and we first took all of the cons, like why people think that they should be against the whole entire idea of equal rights within the gay community, LGBT community. As Mama said before, that $100 million was spent in Utah just to promote the fact that there shouldn't be any equal rights for these individuals. There's also other reasons why people feel so strongly. There's also the reason why people feel so strongly about the LGBT community and not having equal rights. One of the reasons is the biological and anatomical. People think that your genetic makeup should make up what gender you qualify with. So if you are XY, you are a male, and you should be doing the masculine things that males are supposed to do stereotypically, as well as XX, like women, you should be doing the feminine duties that a woman should have. Also, a lot of people are very against the whole entire LGBT community because of the HIV/AIDS. They think that it's a stereotype that if you are gay, lesbian, transgender, bisexual, you have AIDS. I don't know. And also, people say that there was actually, we looked at the TFP student action, over 700 campuses around the country are actually promoting anti-gay efforts and organizations that promote this. So they're basically saying that it's not traditional, it's not morally right to have two men or two women be in a house raising a child or anything. It goes against all morals and traditions. It goes against gun values, and also even if you don't openly talk about it in public and you're not showing your affection for your significant other, even if it's behind closed doors, people do think that the privacy issue is still wrong and that you are not allowed to do it. And a lot of people also think that if a marriage is sterile, meaning that they cannot produce offspring, that marriage is wrong. You cannot have that marriage at all, and that all marriages should have the product of children, and that's why it should be right.
So in regard to the supporting side of the LGBT community, my job is to research certain legislation in terms of as it affects the LGBT community, and not just necessarily in the sense of should LGBT or gay marriage be passed, but also in the sense of other rights that the lesbian, gay, and bisexual community were not necessarily eligible for because of their sexuality. So I found a couple interesting articles. So under the Human Rights Campaign, Senator Edward Markey, who's from Massachusetts, introduced a bill to create an envoy or representative for LGBT rights in the United States State Department. And the responsibilities of this representative would be to coordinate LGBT policies for all bureaus and offices of the United States State Department and other agencies, represent the United States in diplomatic matters relevant to the human rights of LGBT people, and ensure the needs of LGBT people seeking resettlement and protection incorporated into federal government policy. I feel like a lot of people, when they think of LGBT, automatically think gay marriage. I mean, I myself also did, but then I also found a couple other interesting legislation and statistics under the Obama administration that show that it goes even beyond that. So under the Obama administration alone, on the, if you go on the White House website, obviously people know about the repealing of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and the ending of DOMA, or the Defense Against Marriage Act. But lesser ones that people do not know that I found interesting are that under the Obama administration, there was the signing of a historic hate crimes legislation. So until recently, there wasn't no legal punishment, I guess you could say, in terms of a hate crime committed against someone from the LGBT community. Lately, there's also been an insurance of LGBT patients and their loved ones when they're in the hospital. That means that the term civil partnership in certain hospitals does not necessarily mean that you get to see your civil partner if they are sick. So in the way that, say, your husband or your wife is sick in the hospital, if your husband or wife is of the same sex, you would not be able to visit them. So that's a recent law that has changed. And on top of that is expanding access to health coverage. Like Kayla touched on earlier, a lot of people, when they think HIV or AIDS, they also think, gay, lesbian, sex type thing. So certain health insurance companies would reject gay, lesbian people because they saw that as, a rise in those types of diseases. So it's only been recently that they receive equal health coverage as a heterosexual person.
Hi guys, remember me? I'm the one who came and interrupted your nice lovely dinner conversations. So I have the results from my poll. So I polled about 124 people. Now from that, there was 76.6% of you guys who said you were for the equality, legal equality. 8.87% of you guys, 8.87% of you guys said you were against it. And 14.5% of you guys you just didn't care. You were indifferent. You're like, I have no strong feelings either way. And that's pretty much it. That's just the results of the poll. So that's why I interrupted you guys. So, thanks.
Alright, we did that poll because we learned from our information, our research, that under 30 is more, under the age of 30, is more accepting. And we wanted to show that in our group of people. And it came out pretty well. Our conclusions. All men are created equal and we have the right to live out our own lives. And no one should really say that, because we're breaking those scary laws. And that 76% of our study was pro-LGBT. Our action, we focused our research for this part because we didn't feel like we had enough time. But when we would actually get into the school and start doing things, we want to create a sense of awareness and have a lot of sensitivities training. And any questions?
Indifference. Is homophobia a learned behavior? And are we condoning and perpetuating fear by being indifferent? To be aware is to be alive. It behooves us to challenge ideas and ideologies that are relevant to our culture.
For
show you that with our PowerPoint. But if we were to do the honors in action, I think we would push, like when we wrote it up, we would say that it was just lesbian and gays more. It was just that the transgender wasn't as much research, and we didn't have enough time as a group right now to go into that more, and we didn't know as much personally.
I also think as well we included the transgender aspect because as part of our action, we weren't going to leave that out. So to refer to the group as a whole, it was the lesbian, gay, and transgender. So although there wasn't as much research for that, we did want to include the fact that that was going to be a big part of our action as well.